Hey, nice to catch up with everyone again. How's everyone doing? This is Ephraim. You're welcome to Family Wealth live stream. Another episode today. It promises to be quite conversational as usual. We want to try and engage as many people as we can. Please, um, anytime you see these, don't forget to like, to subscribe, connect with us. We're always keen to share life lessons with you. Today we have a very important topic. I don't know how important the topic could be than this, and we're talking about peace. Peace is something that it's a human right. Peace is something that everyone wants to have a part of. Peace should not be negotiated. Um, Peace is required for every human being. Um, it's no surprise that recently the World Head, the United Nations, always celebrated International Day of Peace because it's a very important topic. So let's just try and get on with it. There is something that really triggered this subject today. Earlier this week, we had on the to be quite specific, on the 21st of September was the International Day of Peace. It's a global requirement. Peace is not something that you can keep to yourself. Even the United Nations have now realized that it is an international subject. So that was one of the reasons that triggered today's topic to just say, let's unravel it a bit, let's unpack it a bit more. What does peace mean to you? What is peace to you? And I think I'm not expecting a direct answer to this kind of question because it's something I'm also asking myself. What is peace? How will I define peace? And like I said earlier on, it is an international subject. The United Nations focus for 2020 is around this narrative, shaping peace together. And it's quite remarkable that an international body like that do recognize the importance of peace in the whole globe, not just individual this time around. So really, I just want to ask again because it's not something that one can dictate. It's not something that one can preach over others. It's something that we need to find. It's something that we need to unravel. So, what does peace mean to you? What does it mean to me? Of course, we'll get 1,001 answers when we come to this kind of question because it's quite deep rooted. It draws on many aspects of our lives. But I took time to look at what the dictionary and what is commonly known as peace because people can define it differently. And peace in this particular context is absence of hostility, absence of violence, freedom from fear, harmony. Now, those are significant words. Those are words you cannot really skim over. And it's no wonder that the world is discussing peace. When you look at it, is there really absence of hostility in many places these days? Is there really absence of violence? Is there freedom from fear, really? That is a little bit deeper. And how harmonious, how are we living in harmony these days? So peace is something that we have to um, find for ourselves. It's something that we shouldn't have to wait for United Nations to tell us. It's something that it's human. It is fundamental, and that is why we should discuss it, converse about it. Family what in our studio and our broadcast like this, we don't come here to give solutions. I know people look for solutions. After all, even myself leading this conversation, I need solutions when it comes to peace. So we don't come here to preach at people or tell people as if we know it all. We do have some insights that we can share. So, what does peace really mean to you? And when you start talking about peace, there are just before I go on, please, I can see that a few people are coming and going on a platform. Please give me a shout out. It's always a pleasure to know when I have guests, when I have people with me. And really, this kind of subject is not a monopoly. It's not that Ephraim has all the answers. So I really cherish if you could give a shout out, um, put in a few words there if you are staying, and share your own thoughts when it comes to peace. I think it's a fundamental subject. It's not something that anyone can boast to have all the answers. So please, if you're there, it would be nice to let me know that you're there. Just give a shout out. Thank you very much. Now, I just want to again come back to the subject of peace. Yes, this is a generic definition. The absence of hostility, that means friendship, the absence of violence. We know that these days there are a lot of domestic violence, a lot of people to people violence out there. Freedom from fear. We don't need to go too far today when we talk about fear. Fear from COVID 19. Nobody knows what could happen next. There's been some second wave now. A lot of people, the youth, our younger ones, I can just imagine what's running through their mind. What's the future like? So there's quite a lot of angst, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear about the future. So it's something that we can keep discussing, and then opening it up in this platform doesn't mean that the solution will be just quick, but hopefully as we share, we can share insights, share experiences, trigger a few actions, because peace is something that everyone needs. I need peace. I know that I've found peace, but I also know that we can share with one another. So there are different phases of peace, because just pushing it further. Uh, Someone may ask, what do I mean, different phases of peace? And I'll try to unravel it a bit just by showing some pictures. Now, when you look at this screen, you see faces. And as many faces there are different phases of peace. I can't help but focusing on a child. A child exemplifies peace. Just look at that little child at the top left. it's all peace. And that is why I remember in the Holy Scriptures, God Himself actually said we should be like children, because children actually just impersonifies peace, innocence. But somehow in life, as we begin to grow, so things unravel in life. Life begin to happen. And for whatever reasons, peace now takes so many faces and forms. So I just show this picture to let us know that there are different phases of peace. Now we know that peace is peace, but people go through different aspects in their lives. People go through stuff. People go through situations that sometimes is hard to even share. And that is why in life we need to be nicer to each other, because peace, you can share peace. You can actually um, create an enabling environment for your neighbor to experience peace. Now, we'll come later on to the deeper aspect of peace, but we're just still trying to unravel what is peace, because there's so much has been said, different viewpoints, but at the end of the day, peace, it's something that we need, it's fundamental. But just talking about why am I bringing this subject of peace? Apart from the fact that, like I said earlier on, it recently became an international event, International Day of Peace, 21st of September, and the United Nations actually, as it's an international body, do recognize that we need peace. And their focus for 2020 was, how do we shape peace together? How do we make the world a better place? And that is why I started with a question, really, what is peace? Because United Nations may have an understanding of what they mean by peace. Your neighbor may have an understanding what peace means to him or her. But for you, as an individual, what does peace mean to you? And one other subject that has really troubled recently, that while we must talk about peace, I know that sometimes it's not an easy subject because it's deep rooted, because sometimes it seems to be very scarce in our world these days. But it doesn't mean that we should shut our mouths to talk about peace. Let there be peace. Let the world know peace. Let families know peace. Let me know peace. And I pray that let you, whenever you watch this, know peace. Because it's a very important factor, element, or whatever you call it in our lives. Here's another statistics that really triggered me to bring peace to the topic of Family Work Studio this week. I shared this some time ago, but again, I just want to bring it up again because it is troubling, the rate at which people commit suicide. I know it's different with different regions, but I know in the Western world, we live in Australia, and I know that is a troubling statistics to have 3,000 plus deaths due to suicide in a year. That is an average of 8 a day. I don't need to explain what suicide means. I know that this part may not be primarily for younger people or children, but every adult will understand. Hopefully, I don't need to explain. But suicide, in the simplest term, It's when someone decides and actually go ahead to take their lives. It is devastating. I can only imagine, and you can imagine with me, the kind of impact it causes in the lives of people, not just the one that is gone, but the ones left behind. So we're talking about peace because this kind of statistics should trigger a conversation like this. And the fact that male has quite, in terms of Australia statistics, is shocking how men are dying by their own hands. You start wondering why? Why? I know suicide is a complex subject, and I'm not going to say here that I'm an expert to talk about it. But it is just like it is concerning to many other people I know. It's quite concerning. And that is why today, on Family Word again, I just felt let's really share about peace. Of course, we know that we cannot solve everything. That is why I just talk about a subject that is touching now. For us in Australia, we have some hotline that you can call if you are feeling um, very sad, or really it's not, you don't feel too well with that kind of subject. In case you need to talk to someone, Lifeline Australia, Beyond Blue is there, and then Kids for younger people, Kids Helpline. But I'll just go back again to that subject, and that is why we must talk about peace. Let there be peace in our world. Enough. What can we do to stop another suicide? What can we do to stop another situation that may lead to it? Because by the time it comes to that point, a lot has already happened. So it's strategic to actually deal with leading factors. Leading factors. I wish we can do a lot, and all stakeholders are involved here: government, individuals, families, church, other religious body. We are all in this together. The news of someone taking their own lives always affect communities. So we need to have such conversation. I'm not saying that I have the answer all by myself, but sometimes just opening it up like this could lead someone to take action, could lead someone to have a second thought, could lead someone to want to talk to someone about it, how you're feeling. Because ultimately, every one of us desires peace. Every one of us desire peace. So it comes back to the question again, what does peace mean to you? And I did share this explanation earlier on. Freedom from fear. And there are many fears that face people. And I also say that there are different phases of peace. Many different spaces in our lives. Wherever you are in your journey of life, you may need to engage in actions that will give you peace. Ultimately, I wish we could go back to being like a child where they have no worries in this world. A child, you offend a child right now, the child does not take that offense, does not count it. The child does not keep records of offenses. A child would offend you when you shout at a child. Yes, the child gets scared, withdraws, or stops something you want them to stop. The next minute, the child is running back to you. Just takes life easy, takes life one step at a time. A child will not keep a hurt, wanting to get back. A child does not have that vengeance that will get at you, whatever it takes. A child will not cause fear. A child will always want to laugh. And whenever you are in the presence of a child, there's just something about peace. There's something peaceful about a child. Unfortunately, we cannot say something similar like that among once we start getting into adulthood. And there's nobody to blame quickly here because when we go back to again the definition of peace, freedom from fear. How many of us these days can take our children to the shopping mall and just turn the eyes and let them be children, let them have fun? It's becoming very difficult because of fear. Fear of somebody may actually harm our child. Fear of somebody, I mean, look at the rate of pedophiles. There's a lot happening in our world that is stealing our peace, that is making us not to be like children again, that is making us not to have all the care of this world on our heads. And that will bring lack of peace. What about COVID? What about disease and sicknesses? Sometimes you don't even know where the next thing may come. Like someone being told that they have cancer, it's just their world will turn upside down. And it's difficult to tell such a person about peace. And that is life. But do you know that even in the midst of those kind of challenges, you can still have peace? That's why peace is so critical. But today we're not going rushing into how to get this peace because it may seem as if it's intuitive, but it will surprise you that that question may still be necessary today. How do I achieve peace? How do I get and keep my peace? But for today, we're just unraveling the question of what is peace in the first place? What is it? What is it? I just want to bring just a little bit of narrative. Right from the beginning, we've made it clear that family worth is built on the foundation of the Christian worldview. And as you would appreciate, when you are talking about subject like this, there's so much you can get to superficially. There's so much you can get to when you actually talk about the surface. Peace by its nature is deep. And that is why a lot of people get into different religions. People get into different medium or media for trying to acquire peace. But for family worth, we have adopted the Christian worldview. And that is why I just want to share some insight. Again, this is not meant to be a solution for everything. And I'm not going to force it on anyone. But from my experience, from my own encounter, from just also coming under the mentorship and leadership of a lot of wise and experienced people, and also just being a person of faith, I have now realized that life is more than just this superficial. What makes me me, good or bad, or like my most of my books will say, the good, the challenges, and the lessons. What makes me me is more than this superficial. There's a part of me that is beyond the physical. There's a part of me that when in my moment, when where no one is, I tap into that part just to get refreshed, just to get insight, just to get answers from the depth. Naturally, some precious things of life come from the deep. I am an oil and gas project person. If you want to get oil, you don't skim oil from the surface, especially these days. Sometimes you have to go 2,000 feet deep to get precious, precious materials from the earth. The same thing with life. I wish I can tell you that it's okay to wish peace. I wish I can tell you that it's okay to just speak peace. Of course, that sometimes that's part of the thing that works. Positive thinking, positive speaking. But even those, there is a limit to which it could go. This is from my own experience. Again, I'm not going to force it on anyone, but hopefully someone can actually either find something that they may have dropped, explore further, because the issue of peace is so important for us, for our families, for our generations to come. So I just want to share with you here some inner workings and realities of peace, because I wish I could tell you that peace can just be manufactured, or peace can be taught, or peace can be can be shared. Like as a father, I can actually pass peace to my children. It's not as straightforward. They have to find peace for themselves at some point in time. And hey, I don't know for you, for parents watching, sometimes you wonder how our younger generation are coping these days with so much getting at them from every space of life. The social media, wanting to measure up, peer pressure, name it, uncertainty of the future. There's a lot getting at them. That's why we have to also be kind to them. So I was trying to make the point there that peace, you can't pass it as inheritance. So talking about the inner workings and realities of peace, just briefly, I just want to share some thoughts. Now you can find out from yourself. Again, I'm not trying to force religion on anyone. You can also, but I think many religions actually know that peace go beyond the superficial. So I'm just sharing this diagram, which is really talking about the inner workings of peace. Um, when you see this picture, the first thing that comes to mind, or what comes to mind, I know that there'll be one person regularly staying with me. Sometimes you don't need a crowd to converse. So when I see this, now I'm not trying to get into the spiritual because people get scared of that. But hey, as a human being, humans is more than the wires of the nerves and tissues and organ. I always give this illustration. The difference between me, Ephraim, talking right now, and Ephraim when the time comes to die. When you see the body of Ephraim there, the difference between the Ephraim that is talking now and that lifeless body, there's something that is different there. In the equation of simple mathematics, there's something. Ephraim alive talking right now minus Ephraim dead and a corpse or cadaver for experiments like the medical students will use. There is something that is the difference. Whatever that thing means to you, that is where human beings tap into. And people go to different lengths to tap into that. For me, I've used my Christian faith. I have discovered that wealth of capacity. How will will I put it now that make it? Yes, so I've discovered that the spiritual is real. I wish I could say it's not. It is real. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate this. I didn't know you were watching. Thank you so much, Chekulunta. I know you told me your name last time. Thank you very much. Yes, so when you look at this picture, again, this is not preaching at people. You can see some level of stability, just that base, that spirit base, that that depth. So sometimes when you meet people, you interact with a few people, there's something just about some persons you meet. You start wondering where is this person coming from? Was he or she big at? Why you meet some personality? They're just stable. They're stable. It doesn't mean that they don't go through stuff. Um, it doesn't mean that life is not also throwing things at them. It does not mean that they are not having hardship even from home, at work, with employment or whatever that makes people lose peace. But sometimes some people have developed that base to the extent that when things get thrown at them at the superficial, which is at the top, they have the base to tap into. They have the base to actually sustain themselves. Um, I really, when you talk about things like these, there is so much you can explain unless you experience it. But I just brought that in because there are inner workings of peace. You see some people, they do yoga, meditations. Some people go to the hill, the mountains. So different people try to get their peace in different ways. I just shared an insight, a thought that could be explored or not. But that base can make a whole lot of difference when the storms of life come. That base can make a whole lot of difference when you need to live without fear, when you need to not wanting to get back at people, when you need to keep going when the going is tough. I wish I could tell you that every time I feel good, 100%. No, no, no way. There are times that life could be quite tough, and I know that I'm not alone. So those times I tap into the base. I tap into the beyond the superficial. I'm not going to push it further than that because otherwise it will now look as if I'm preaching. No. I just wanted to say that with peace, remember the question is what is peace? Peace is not something that I can share like a card, like you see, physical. It's not, it's something you feel. It's something when someone that is full of peace is in your presence, you feel it. You feel it. And I'm not saying that people cannot actually do positive thinking, people cannot build their mental capacity to an extent. Yes. But again, beyond that, there's a limit to which that can take anybody. It is the depth that takes you further. I just want you to compare this particular chart with this other one, which is the same realm. So if you could take this as two personalities or two people, experiencing the same COVID, experiencing the same marital challenges, because I'm beginning to hit some hard places now, because those are places that actually touch the core. When you have to go through separation and divorce, for example, it is devastating. And sometimes people do not recover. And this is where peace becomes very important. How do you maintain peace under such a condition? What about bereavement? If you lose someone in the family, the one that is really hard to even mention, but it happens. Imagine having to lose a child. Oh, it's hard to even say, but it happens. People, it does happen. How do you go on? How do you keep going? Yes, this is where I must say that the place of talking to counselors, psychologists, yes, by all means, talk to your pastor or your spiritual leader, yes. But one thing I discover, even most of these helpers, because they are called helping therapies, like when you talk to a psychologist or counselor, they will tell you outrightly that they don't have answers for you, but they will work with you to get answers for yourself. The same thing I'm trying to just share here. I'm not counseling here. Of course, this is not a counseling, it's not a therapy. I'm just sharing some thoughts. There's a difference between these two if they represent personalities of people. Between these and these. And one thing that immediately comes out there is stability. Stability from the inside out. And as you know, the stability that comes from the inside out will sustain you. The one that depend on just the superficial, like this particular other diagram, there's so much it can take you. Yeah, I know it's beginning to look like a lecture. I didn't intend to, but I just wanted to share some thoughts about the inner workings and realities of peace. This is where the issues of peace are settled. And the earlier we have our children, the earlier we have our own selves exposed to this reality, the better. How I really pray and wish and beg that children will be exposed to the reality of developing their inner self early. Of course, I'm not saying that they should be exposed to something that is not safe. Far from it. It has to happen in a safe environment. But it is so important, because when I look forward sometimes, I look at the world that we are getting into, my people. Sometimes I get concerned. I have my own family. I get concerned. I get a bit worried, because I know there's so much talk about resilience. But hey, this is where it comes from ultimately. The difference between this and the base that this gives you and these. These sometimes could be very flaky. Sometimes these can be very superficial. And I'm not saying that people should not take care of their bodies. The good thing is that you still take care of your body here. You take care of your mind, your mental capacity. But ultimately, there is that realm that parents may not be able to go with you too. There's that realm that friends, however close, may not be able to go with you too. And this is where you'll be sustained. Again, can I just mention, because I don't want it to sound as if this is preaching at anybody. I just want to mention again that if you feel you need to reach out, I know I've shared a few things that may make some people actually explore some deeper spaces further, and that is the whole essence. I'm doing the same. I need to explore more. I need to get deeper more. I need to develop my base more. It doesn't mean that I will not still do what I need to do out there at workplaces, in the community, in my corporate setting, in my professional life. But hey, all those will only take me that far, especially when I face, and I do face, and I may be facing right now, challenges of life. It's just life. But we need peace. We need peace. Yes, that's a very good point. I need to flag this because this is really a good point. I like the way you put it. Shakulunta, I know you have another name, but because this is the name on the screen, I'll use that for now if you don't mind. But I really appreciate your point. Because it's a complex narrative. I don't want to shy away from that. You know it. It's complex. But at the same time, because it's complex doesn't mean that we cannot talk about it. And that is why I appreciate your contribution here. It takes away the state of calm. And I really like what you're saying about this ease. Somebody explained it, which is what you've broken down here. This ease. It takes away your ease. It takes away your calm. And that is why diseases is it's not good. It's not. Anyone that sees someone that cancer is being affected now, this is not to. Of course, I'm not. We're not saying that people that have experienced that's terrible disease that they are bad. No, far from it. Rather, compassion should be our watch, our positioning with when we come across people. But it's just it's even when you have fever, just fever. I will use just, even though disease is disease. But when you have fever, it makes you so uneasy. It makes you lose sleep. It makes you feel very uncomfortable. I never enjoyed it. We used to back in Africa. We used to have malaria, and very uncomfortable. Now take that and compare with COVID. It's a new one on the block, COVID-19. And the number of people that have died that their relatives could not even see. You can only imagine the process that would have taken, the kind of dis-ease. Thank you, thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much for sparing me there. I know you have a heart of forgiveness. You forgive me. Well, thanks for joining me and your contribution so far. I just want to flag again your comments there because this is where I said it earlier on. I don't have all the answers, but it's so nice to have someone like Catherine online also just helping me out here because people have stuff that we can share. And the essence of family word is not to come and position as if we have the answers or we are better than thou. People are going through stuff. I'm going through mine. But when we come like this and share, it really feels good. And that is why I really like the fact that Catherine is just sharing as well. So please keep it up. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, so just going back to the whole issue of peace. Today we just want to talk about limited to what is peace because it's so complex. It's something that you cannot just round up in one go. So today we just focus on what is it, and I've shared with you the different phases. I took our mind back to a child. Again, the innocence of peace. You see a child, you can't help but appreciating the innocence of peace. A child, unfortunately, some people, I can't imagine how people can harm a child because they're actually the embodiment of peace. A child will not keep offense. A child, even when a child is sick, yes, the child may be uneasy, but you can still feel the innocence. Child does not take it on someone. If it takes me 10 years, I'm going to get back at you. A child does not do that. And that is why adults lose peace. And that is why the wise book, the Holy Scripture say, hey, you have to go back and be like a child again. And sometimes I try to, it's very hard as an adult, but there's something to learn from that space. There's something we can learn, really. So, yes, we cannot all be children again, but we can learn some principles about peace, and that's what we're just sharing here today. I shared with you what triggered this whole topic for today. Earlier this week, we had 21st of September, to be specific, was International Day of Peace. So peace is international, peace is fundamental, peace is human right. It is human right. But unfortunately, it doesn't come on a platter of gold. You know, just somebody put peace on your plate. People can help you, people can give you the environment, but you have to do something by yourself. And we also highlighted the fact that the UN focus for this year is shaping peace together. That's almost like what we are doing with this podcast today. We just want to share, and that's why I'm so grateful. I appreciate Catherine for staying with me and for contributing. We need to find a way to shape peace together. Um, I wish it's as simple. I wish it's something that can be taught. I wish it can be shared. I wish so, but no, like I gave illustration with my son or my child. I wish I can or he can share peace with me. Let me go it the other way around. And so today the focus has been what is peace. In the next couple of episodes, we just want to stay on this a bit. We're also going to explore why. Why is this so important? And how? I already said it that it's not something that we can easily discuss, but there are some key principles that could help anyone that cherish peace to go for it. I want to keep going for it. I want to keep going for it. There's been a few definitions. Today we reviewed that. But again, it's more than this generic. And we had a look at the different phases of peace. We also look at the inner workings of peace, where we consider that base, taking care of the inner life at the base level, rather than focusing more. It's good to do all, but keep the right balance. And I did share earlier on, in case you need to talk to, for Australia, there are people to talk to. For other countries, you have yours, Lifeline, that you can call in case anybody is feeling unease as a result of this podcast. That wasn't the intention, but hey, you never know. So, in case you need to talk to someone, like in Australia, this is the number to call. And these are people that can help you, direct you to a counselor, direct you to somebody that you can talk to. But just beginning to round up now, the key word at the end of the day, the essence of doing this, and I'm not sure whether I've done justice, but it's good that I had support from the likes of Catherine, but the essence of today is that let there be peace. Let there be peace. I couldn't say it enough, but saying is not enough. I know that. I need to start from my own self. Individuals, be kind on yourself. Be kind on yourself. Start from yourself. Let there be peace. Seek it out if you need to. Don't go another day or month or year in that, just like Catherine described it earlier on, in that dis-ease. Let there be peace. And this is why I really like this as we begin to round up. I know this comes in different kind of quotes, but anything, any situation, or even persons, as close as they may be, even your child, your partner, your lover, your sweetheart, your best friend, any situation, anything or person that will cost you, me, my peace, is too expensive. Of course, I'm not rushing to any conclusion here. Doesn't mean that you should run people off your life almost immediately. No, no, no. But you cannot also afford to depend on an element or person or system for your peace. This goes back to why the narrative and the inner workings are very vital. So think about it, reflect on that statement. And like I said, it comes in different quotation forms, but I just brought this out today. That anything, any situation, it's too expensive. It's just too expensive. You may have to take time to make changes. Um, Peace, your joy. That is why, again, referring to the Holy Scripture, my wise book, my wisest book. I could read other books, but the ultimate book, the Bible, it says, the joy of the Lord, that peace, it gives strength. So if you are not, if you are trading it off, you are actually chiseling off your strength. It's a matter of time. Some people out of lack of peace get sick. Some people die younger. It's just too expensive. And again, I'm not telling anybody to go separate, divorce, or stop being a friend to someone or rush into something. But it doesn't change that statement that's there. So I just want to go back again, that let there be peace, and ultimately embody the Prince of Peace. I did share earlier on that family wealth is hinged is founded, the foundation, the base, talking about base of family wealth is a Christian worldview. You couldn't talk about this kind of narrative of peace without having a point of reference, a boundary, as you would imagine. Yes, we do recognize that there are other views, and there are other views we need to acknowledge here. We need to leave room for the fact that other views exist. They do exist. But for family wealth, it's a Christian biblical worldview. And we're not forcing it on anyone. But one scripture says, He, our Lord Himself, is a Prince of Peace. Embody the Prince of Peace. Give the body, and in exchange, peace. Your life will know peace. So thank you for being with me here today. Please, whenever you see these, if you're interested to keep being updated, you just want to keep in touch, please subscribe, like, just like Catherine did today. Please join me as much as you can. I would love to, if I see others are also sharing similar narratives, I'd love to also contribute. Let me know when you can always share ideas. As long as we can keep the streamline and the value boundary right. Yes, of course. So please join me next 2 weeks. Let's unpack this a little bit further for good, not for bad. I don't want to put anybody under pressure. For good. Let's unpack it. Let's share. Let's go to. So next time, I want to look at why. Why is this so important? Like that guy always says, start with the why. Why peace? Why peace? Now that we have an idea of what, even though it's still there's still room for more ideas, but hopefully we've done some justice to the worth of peace, the different faces, the inner workings and realities of peace. Now we'll go next to why. So thank you for being with me today. Please embody the Prince of Peace, and I really wish, and it's my prayer that there'll be peace. There'll be peace, peace in your home, peace in your life, peace in my own life, peace all around us. Whatever it will take, the wisdom, the change of heart, that it will require, that God will give you the grace to do it. Because sometimes that is what it requires, a change of heart, a change of direction, a change of positioning, a change of company, a change to seek wisdom. So thank you for being with me today. I really look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you so much. I appreciate your insights. Thank you very much. So looking forward to seeing you all next 2 weeks. Please, if you want to connect, I'm keen to always connect and share values, share ideas, share life, and just keep blessing each other. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.